Here we freaking go again. This trans violent shit has got to stop. Another unbelievable story. We're going to talk about that. Revolutionary AI tools could change just about everything. There's a new YouTube channel. It's not that new. It's called Corridor Crew. I've been obsessed. They're a special effects team, which is also kind of the business that I'm in partly. And it's an amazing channel. I have to check it out. And the IndyCar racing on DC streets? Yeah, it looks like it, much as that might be hard to imagine. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. Oh my goodness, it's Tuesday. We got through Monday and we are relatively unscathed, thankfully. And yes, Chinese New Year continues as the end of the first day of Chinese New Year here where I live. Miko is beside, well, she's actually right beside me. She's got her thunder coat on, and occasionally I'm going to have to reach down and give her a pet. Thankfully, she is laying down next to my chair tonight instead of back where all the wiring and the cameras go and, messing everything up. So far, so good. We'll see how long that lasts. Man, I am telling you, it has been a weird couple of days, to say the least. All right. Before we get started, we want to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, and that are good friends and our partners at Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile, my friends, it is the Christian conservative mobile service provider. Your cell phone and you and your rights and your freedoms. This is a Christian conservative company, and they believe in all the stuff we do. First Amendment, Second Amendment, certainly the sanctity of life, the right to life. Our first responders, our military, they love all these things just the same like you and I do. They've been a great supporter of this show, and they are the only cell phone service provider that's actually right there on the front lines defending our freedom. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage across all three major networks, which means you get exactly the same service you've been used to. You keep your phone, you keep your phone number. You can upgrade if you want. You don't have to. Keep your phone, keep your number. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you are supporting a company that is defending all the stuff you and I believe in. They don't give a dime of their profits to any of those lefty causes. 100% US based customer service. They speak your language. They're there to help you, and they're there to get you in a plan that will fit your budget. Even if you're under contract with another company, go over to this Patriot Mobile link, patriotmobile.com/J, J-A-Y, and talk to their customer service people. See what they can do. They do have some plans. You may even be able to save yourself a bunch of money. Don't get fooled by those patriotic TV ads talking about, oh, we're such a patriotic company and blah, blah. No, baloney. PatriotMobile.com/J. They are the company that believes in what you and I believe in. Our religious freedoms, our right to life, First Amendment, Second Amendment, all that good stuff. They're right there with us in this fight. PatriotMobile.com/J. Your first month is free. When you use that link, you get signed up. I'm paying for your first month of service at PatriotMobile.com/J. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. We really, really are so proud to be partnered up with you. All right. This insanity of these transgendered, violent shooter people, it just isn't stopping. Police in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, have identified the ice rink shooter as a transgender father. Here we can go again. Father of three who went by the name Roberta. Learning more about this man, police say shot up a Pawtucket, Rhode Island skating rink during a high school hockey game yesterday afternoon. Seems like the latest in a long line of mass shootings being committed by transgender individuals. 3 people, including the shooter, dead, 3 more hospitalized. Unbelievable. Monday's press conference last night, Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Goncalves identified the suspect as 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, who also used the name Roberto Esposito. The violence, now being labeled as a murder-suicide, has apparently stemmed from some kind of family dispute that his confused gender identity may have played a role in those tensions. Local media reporting that Dorgan went to the North Providence Police Department in early 2020 to lodge a complaint against his father-in-law. According to Dugan, he had recently undergone gender reassignment surgery, and his father-in-law wanted him to move out of the family house because of it. Dorgan, who said that he had lived at the house for 7 years, told police the father-in-law told him, "There's no," his words, "no goddamn way a tranny's gonna stay in my house." About the same time as that incident, Dorgan's then-wife, Rhonda, filed for divorce, citing gender reassignment surgery, narcissistic, and personality disorder traits. Those are the reasons behind the split, according to his ex-wife. She eventually crossed that out and replaced it with irreconcilable differences, which have caused the immediate breakdown of our marriage. She was the one people, Robert Dorgan was on the one people shot and killed Monday. Court records show the divorce was finalized in June of 2021. Robert reportedly moved to Jacksonville, Florida after the divorce and was working as a truck driver. The gunman killed, the 3 people he killed were his wife and 2 of his kids, and then turned the gun on himself. This is the video of the people fleeing the ice skating rink as the shots were being fired. Unbelievable. You could hear the shots there. Insane. Police Chief Goncalves revealed her department had interviewed over 100 witnesses as part of this investigation into the shooting. It's believed that Rhonda Dorgan was gunned down and killed alongside one of her adult children, and then Robert apparently turned the gun on himself. Appears it was a targeted event that may have been a family dispute, she said. We cannot release the name of the victims because obviously we want to speak to the family, make sure the family is well aware of what happened before we release that publicly information. Shooting took place at Pawtucket's Dennis M. Lynch Arena. The violence began around 2:30 in the afternoon during a senior night high school matchup between the Coventry Johnston co-op team and the Blackstone Valley co-op team. One of the Dorgan children allegedly on the ice at the time of the shooting and is not believed to have been injured. Local reporter NBC 10's Dan Jegnig cited a law enforcement source saying the suspect may have been dressed as in women's clothing when he intentionally targeted his family members who were at the match. There's an X account out, possibly linked to the subject. It was still up Monday evening, showed the user, and again, it is not confirmed to be Robert Dugan, telling actor Kevin Sorbo to keep bashing us, but not wonder why we go berserk. in response to a post Sorbo made about the transgender member of Congress. It was just last week, folks, this transgender 18-year-old slaughtered 7 students and a teacher at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in the British Columbia province of Canada. Just last week. And now this in Rhode Island. Where does it end? Seriously, where does it end? This is beyond unbelievable. I literally, I have no idea what anybody is going to do about this, but something has got to be done. This kind of violence from these whack jobs, it cannot go on. And speaking of whack jobs, look at this knucklehead. This woman, obviously a lefty, obviously a gaslit, brainwashed moron, does set fire to a warehouse in Kansas City. Why? Because it was being considered to be used as an ICE detention center. And there's video. News crews covering the canceled warehouse sale. The sale was canceled. It was not going through. But the news crew caught video of the woman using some kind of lighter fluid and rags to try and set the building on fire. Hang on just one second. I got to get this thing queued back up here. This is incredible. This is actual footage of this knucklehead trying to burn the building down.
Now, this is shocking new video of a woman setting fire to a warehouse in Kansas City, Missouri. It was reportedly being considered to be used as an ICE detention center. A news crew happened to be covering this, and they were canceling the fact that the canceled warehouse sale was caught on video of this woman using lighter fluid and rags to start the fire. She left before police could arrive. Nobody was hurt.
Look at that. There's her fat face right there. I haven't seen a follow-up on this story, but it seems like it would be a pretty easy solve, since there she is. These are the kind of mental cases, retards, the left has going for it. Trying to set the damn building on fire, caught right there on tape from a news crew. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's getting better, though. Great news story. Kind of a reality check. This from Red State. More local police are choosing to work with ICE, not less. Ever since the Trump administration has begun this mass deportation, Democrats, the left, just like that last whack job, losing their collective minds. Now, despite ICE agents being charged with getting rid of the worst of the worst, the left insists on putting illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens, getting in the way of ICE at every turn they can when they're doing their operations. A lot of blue cities, blue states, local law enforcement is actually prohibited from cooperating with ICE. A lot of the people on the left, however, are starting to fight back a little bit. That may be, we're seeing a change, which would be nice. Maryland's sheriff vows to defy Democrat Governor Wes Moore's ban on working with ICE, according to new data from a nonpartisan policy organization. collaborations between local law enforcement and ICE agents that permit police officers to make federal immigration arrests has seen a sharp increase since the first year of Trump 2.0, which just ended less than a month ago. In the first year of Trump's second term alone, arrests by local officers has risen by 950%. Damn. As of January 26, just a couple of weeks ago, 1,168 local agencies have officers trained to assist ICE agents. That is up from just 135 during Biden's administration and 150 at the end of Trump's first term. That new figure, 1,168. Part of this uptick in local assistance is coming from the revival of a task force model in which officers are deputized, so they're able to stop and arrest individuals if they believe, or if they have reason to believe, that they're in this country illegally. As might be expected, of course, blue cities in otherwise red states have a huge problem. October of 2025, Dallas Police Chief Daniel Cumio turned down a $25 million partnership with ICE, even after Mayor Johnson urged other elected officials to explore the potential benefits. The chief said he was concerned that officers would be pulled away from their normal duties. Montgomery County, Maryland, very blue place. District Attorney, along with the Police Chief Association, released a statement which said, in part, the Montgomery County Detective Bureau and police departments in Montgomery County do not enforce civil immigration orders. Enforceable warrants must be signed by a judge. Red states like Louisiana, Republican governors have left local law enforcement with very little choice. As of May of 2025, last year, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry signed an executive order that directed state and local law enforcements that they would assist ICE operations. Per ICE, those arrested convicted for child sex abuse, drug possession, and endangering the welfare of children. This 287G program offers a very lucrative deal to the law enforcement locally. $7,500 per officer for equipment, $100,000 for new vehicles, pay of up to 25% of an officer's salary. That is huge. 39 states where local law enforcement assists ICE. Not surprisingly, the red states are most of the participants. Florida topping the list, 324 agreements. Texas, 296. Tennessee, 63. Alabama, 52. Even swing state Pennsylvania joined the mix. They've got 58 assistance programs. Wow. And you have to look no further than, no surprise here, Minnesota and Florida for this stark contrast between where local cooperation exists and where it is completely absent. Border czar Tom Homan even announced that operations in Minneapolis were scaling back. Protesters still out there last Sunday. A lot of them skeptical of the drawdown in ICE operations, which may keep their demonstrations going on. Idiots. And then Florida, where the Sunshine State has been working a hell of a lot smarter, not harder, by combining illegal immigrant apprehension with fish and game violations, proving that in Florida there is more than one way to catch an illegal alien. American public also seems to be much more on the side of local, and federal cooperation. A couple of recent polls showed that an overwhelming majority of Americans, including Democrats, favor the deportation of illegal immigrants and support ICE enforcing immigration laws. You think? I don't know what it's going to take for Democrats, the far left, to figure out that Homan and the boys ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Anti-ICE agitators who do not speak for us American citizens. We are done. We are done being victimized by these illegal aliens and the politicians who enable them. Midterms are coming, folks. You better think hard and long about that. Because the tides are a-changin'. The times are changing. You better get with the program. We're not putting up with it. Not anymore. Florida's got a new rule, and I'm liking this a lot. Of course, I'm liking a lot of what goes on in Florida. They have a new rule. It's called their 25-foot rule. Florida's Halo law is, as of right now, officially live. If you see first responders in action, fire, police, ambulance, ICE, you need to back up or face backing yourself right into a jail cell, which is frankly where you belong if that's the case. Here's the breakdown. The magic number, 25 feet. Stay at least 25 feet away from police, fire, or EMS while they are working. If you live in Florida, you better be paying attention, and a lot of other states ought to think long and hard about adopting this kind of rule because it is perfect. The warning: officers must give you a verbal move back command. If you don't listen, the gloves come off. Now, this law targets anyone approaching with the intent to harass, threaten, or get in the way of emergency duties. And yes, an ICE officer making an arrest of an illegal alien is emergency duty. This applies to cops, firefighters, paramedics, and even probation officers. Ignoring a warning, move back, you ignore that, you don't just go, oh, sorry, my bad, I'll move now. It is a second-degree misdemeanor. You are looking at 60 days in county jail. Put your ass in a jail cell for 2 months, and there you will sit. Worth it? Well, if that's not bad enough, it also comes with a $500 fine plus court costs. And how about this? Evidence seizure. You think you're being so cool? Rushing at police or ICE agents or cops or firemen doing their jobs? You trying to take video with your phone? Well, guess what? That's evidence, and they're going to seize it. Your phone or your camera can be taken as evidence if it is used during the violation of this rule. The new 25-foot Halo law. Bottom line, you got to support our heroes. You got to give them the space they need to save lives. And in some cases, the lives they save may very well be yours and mine. I love this. Florida's new Halo law. 25 feet, that's what you got. You get one warning, move back. If you don't, 60 days in jail. Enjoy it. $500 fine plus court costs. Perfect. Perfect. They are coming after the dogs, my friends. I knew this was going to happen. But it's no contest between a pro-Palestine activist and Americans' love for their dogs. Nurdeen Kizwani, who is a close ally of Democrat Socialist New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, and instrumental in organizing the 2024 pro-Hamas protests, which tore up that city, decided to take to X to issue her hot take on people having man's best friend in their residences. She writes, "Finally, New York City is coming to Islam. Dogs definitely have a place in society, just not as indoor pets. Like we've said all along, they are unclean." How you doing, Miko? Good girl. Finally, New York City's coming to Islam. Well, isn't that nice? Out of the pie hole of pro-Palestinian activists emits filth worse than what comes out of my little girl Miko. That's for damn sure. Unlike the folks in her Hamas bubble, New Yorkers and every other American let her know exactly what country she was living in, and it ain't Palestine. Not only does Kizwani mistake us for people who actually cared about her opinion, but she also didn't expect the kind of backlash she got. All set off by GOP Congressman Randy Fine from Florida, who said, "If they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims isn't a difficult one." Of course, Kizwani starts playing the victim right away, screaming racism and genocide, all the buzzwords. Here's the response to Fine's post. Of course, she restricted comments, typical. She says, "Randy Fine posted this genocidal statement about me. Thing is, no one's forcing you to choose. He's just like the millions of other racists hounding me this past week, looking for a reason to be Islamophobic. Just replace Muslims with any other religion and ask if this is okay." Well, frankly, in my opinion, someone needs to tell her about the storyline of John Wick. The movie? Yeah. It's not exactly Kizwani's day today, and we're not the ones to do it, but Malenka posts, "No other religion is asking us to ban dogs from our cities, though. Go back to marry your uncle and inbreed a Stan, Nardine, and, turn on your comments, you coward." Democratic Congresswoman Yasemin Ansari from Arizona tried to back Kizwani's play, condemned Fine's comments. She said, "If anyone said something this vile in any workplace, they'd be fired. Randy Fine has repeatedly dehumanized Muslims without consequence. Unacceptable, should not be normalized by Congress. Speaker Johnson should reprimand him immediately. And if Fine cannot meet the most basic standards of human dignity, he should resign." That's what she posted. Aswari even tagged House Speaker Johnson, demanding that Fine be reprimanded and he resign. Yeah, good luck with that. Then denounce the comment by Nadine Kizwani first, and if you don't, you should be censured and reprimanded. Plenty of New Yorkers and Americans in every state who would kill to protect their dogs, and their dogs serve as a lifeline towards their safety, protection, communication, vision, and mobility. Who the hell are you, and how dare you try to hurt Rep. Fine for reminding you that Americans choose their faithful dogs over religious extremists who have no business in our country to begin with, you anti-Semite protector. Religious and political extremism should be stifled from any and every society. And if you can't see that, then you are part of the problem. May I remind you that the same extremism is exactly what got hundreds murdered under Jim Jones in Guyana. Extremism is a sickness. That's from the Congresswoman. She's not wrong. The extremism never starts there. It begins with digs, demands like Kiswani's, and unless people push back, we will ultimately get mowed down. We have got to push back against this bullshit. Her commentary, anti-American. We will have free will and the freedom to do as we please in our homes and apartments. Nobody, not Muslims, not anybody, can tell us who or what we can have living under our roofs. There it is. A little thing called freedom. Right to privacy, right to personal property. Concepts that obviously Kiswani and Azwari and Ansari and their Democrat socialist ilk apparently despise and just want to eliminate entirely. And they're going to apparently start with your right to have a dog in your house, which frankly is just downright un-American. In fact, maybe it should be part of the revamped immigration requirements. You're required to adopt a dog. How about that idea? You see, how you doing, Miko? Okay? Good girl? All right. In America, we love our dogs. For some of us, they're more than pets, hence the term fur baby. We love them in all shapes, all sizes, all colors. They contribute a lot more than this to this country than a Free Palestine activist, that's for damn sure. Any day of the week. Brave canine, law enforcement, military dogs, sniffing out, running down danger on a daily basis. Service dogs protecting people, protecting property, helping humans dealing with epilepsy, PTSD, and a lot of other debilitating and life-threatening conditions. And then there is the rest of us, who simply love our dogs, keep them close for the simple reason that they exist. They provide us with unbridled, unquestioned affection. They teach us joy. They teach us absolute, unconditional love. When Miko is so frightened of these fireworks, she turns to us. She's got her paw going. She wants a pet and a hug. And she needs our protection the same way we need hers. Obviously, this idiot has never heard the expression, dog is God spelled backwards. Dogs are about the closest thing to heaven that some people will ever get, including her. Good girl, Miko. Good girl. All right. Said enough about that. There are some experts who have a thing or two to say about AI. And what they have to say ain't so comforting. We will tell you about that in just a moment. But before we do, a nice, fresh, hot cup of Blackout coffee. Oh, man, that is good. Blackout Coffee has specials like every other day. They've got something going on, and guess what? Today is no different. Look at this. A President's Day celebration at Blackout Coffee. Spend $50 or more, get 15% off. $75 or more, you get 25% off. And if you're a big spender and you spend $100 or more, you will unlock 30% off. You do not need a code. It just happens when you order at Blackout Coffee using the link in our show notes. Extra caffeinated, 1776 dark roast, brutal awakening, the Bongino Army roast. They've got pods, they have instant, they've got cold brew. You can sign up for a coffee subscription so you get your supply. You don't even have to keep going back and reordering every month. And you get some great savings too and free shipping. Flavored coffees are incredible. Look at this blueberry crumble, cinnamon French toast, salted caramel mocha. Folks, I've said it before during these ads that I read for them. I was not a fan of flavored coffees. I really wasn't. I couldn't stand them. This changed my mind. These flavored coffees are to die for. My favorite, one I always use, is Pitch Black Espresso. And by the way, if you don't have a way to grind your beans, they will grind them for you on most of their popular blends. You see right there, it says select option, ground or beans. Whole beans are ground. Your choice is yours. They only roast your beans after you place your order, and then within 24 to 48 hours, they ship them out. No time at all. That is why it is fresh roasted. It's delivered straight to your door, and you get the best beans in the country to make the most amazing coffee on the planet. They're an American company. They work with local co-ops and American farmers to grow these beans. They select only the premium ones, and they are what goes into your roast. Flavored, cold brew, coffee pods if you need them, instant. It's all fantastic. Cannot recommend it more. Use the code J20 at checkout. You get 20% off your first order. Try a bag, a single bag. It's all I ask. Pick your flavor, pick your roast. Try a single bag of these Blackout coffee beans. You'll be back for more, I promise. It's just that good. Use the link in our show notes. Head over to Blackout Coffee, buy a bag, and off you go to the races. It'll keep you going just like me on this show. Oh, man. Thank you, Blackout Coffee. Experts are warning that revolutionary AI tools are about to change everything. It is rattling a lot of cages, trust me. Commercial graphic artists are shaking in their boots and rightfully worried about being underbid and driven out of the market by computers. I'm not so worried. I use AI in my work on a fairly regular basis. I'm pretty good with it. Takes some work, takes some learning, but not hard. Some new AI tools that are coming along, though, and some of the tech types are warning that these could change a lot of things. The future, basically, babe, is here. Within the last month, a handful of new AI tools have pushed this technology way past the tipping point, making it more accessible to almost everybody and anybody, and more indispensable to people who actually know how to use it. Something big is happening, according to Matt Schumer, who is the co-founder and CEO of applied AI company Otherside AI. Earlier this week in a post on X, he said has gone viral, attracting 75 million views and 34,000 shares. He described a before and after moment from his own work, the point at which AI stopped being a tool he guided and started completing complex, multi-day projects entirely on its own. It just took off and did it. He warned that this disruption is very soon going to shape every single profession. Well, the future is always here. We're catching up to it at a rate of about 1 hour per hour. So that's somewhat nonsensical, of course, but it seems to me these new tools, no matter how slick and shiny they are really just improvements on an old one. OpenClaw, for example, open source AI assistant, debuted in late January, already amassed millions of users, dominating the conversation and happy hours of just about everybody in the tech industry. Meanwhile, OpenAI and Anthropic, arguably the two most prominent AI tools, each released new models just a short week or so ago on February 5th. They were so powerful that some people in the tech space believe they can already eliminate white-collar jobs, like administrative assistants and junior bankers. Now, I'd really like to see a little more details on this, especially when it comes to things like administrative assistants. People who primarily their goal is dealing with other people, making appointments, arranging meetings, keeping details straight. Can AI negotiate with a human and show a little tact in doing so? I mean, color me skeptical, but I don't know. Here's the onion. We will be a nation of bots, predicts John Borthwick, founder of BetaWorks, a venture fund that backed Tumblr and Giphy. In the future, everyone will have multiple specialist agents rather than relying on one general-purpose AI. Matthew Lubkin, former chief product officer at a cloud management platform, left his corporate job earlier this year to launch a knowledge retention platform for retiring workers called Tavan AI. He built the entire company with specialized AI agents. One handles HR, one does sales, one handles marketing, and it feels very much, he said, like an assistant. None of this, he says, I could have done a year and a half ago. I still think these tools are going to be somewhat limited when it comes to dealing with humans because, after all, we are human. We are fickle. Often as not, we don't even know what we think ourselves about any given thing. A task, a question. The thing that will limit AI for, I think, some time to come, one of two things, actually. The first is human interaction. I mean, there really is no real substitute for human interaction. AI has no sense of priority except what it's inflexibly coded to do, has no intuition, no judgment. Most of all, AI has no empathy, no ability to put itself in somebody else's position, understand their point of view. And secondly, creativity. An AI really can only remix what it's been given. At least for now. I know the future is still out there. No computer, no bot can create something out of whole cloth. Now, given the reworked, refurbished, folded, spindled, mutilated dreck that comes out of Hollywood these days, it'd seem a good argument that those people can't really create much either. Valid. Artificial intelligence will no doubt be a very, very valuable tool. It is to me in my work. It will change things. Just Just like the automobile changed the world when those people grew up with horses. Just like the airplane changed things for people who are accustomed to being on the ground. One constant in this world is change. And whatever AI may be able to do, it's a bit of toothpaste that is really not going to go back in that tube. We're going to need to learn to live with it. And in fact, we need to use it to our advantage. If it becomes sentient, that's a whole nother ball game that we do not want to deal with right now, but we better start thinking about it. Because it may not be that far down the road, and the experts are telling us it could happen sooner than later. This is a weird one. There was you know what the Havana syndrome is? That's where they claim the people at the embassy in Havana in Cuba were being targeted by some sort of a microwave or frequency wave energy and was making them sick. It first was reported in Havana, which is why it got the name Havana syndrome. Well, they tried to debunk it by doing an experiment, and that kind of went really tits up. A Norwegian researcher's determination to disprove the existence of so-called Havana syndrome may just have wound up giving himself brain damage. Yeah. According to reports, this unnamed scientist set out back in 2024 to build an experimental microwave weapon similar to what may have been used against diplomats and other staffers at the embassy in Havana, Cuba. Things seemed to go a little bad for him when he began testing the weapon. He intended to show it was harmless to humans. Instead, he ended up with severe neurological issues similar to, wait for it, Havana syndrome. Working in the strictest of secrecy, a government scientist in Norway built a machine capable of emitting powerful pulses of microwave energy, and in an effort to prove these devices are harmless to humans, in 2024, he tested it on himself. He then suffered neurological symptoms similar to Havana syndrome, the unexplained malady that has struck hundreds of U.S. spies and diplomats around the world. It's called Havana syndrome, as I explained, because a big number of Americans who worked out of the Havana outpost were affected by this phenomenon, dating all the way back to 2016. Involves a cluster of unexplained, sudden onset symptoms such as auditory changes, cognitive challenges, dizziness, headaches, and nausea. The U.S. government often calls these cases anomalous health incidents. They've always got a fancy word for everything. An X-account devoted to exposing the truth behind Havana syndrome summed up the sequence of events which led the scientist's condition this way. Focusing on the facts, they wrote, a pulsed microwave was built, emitted directed electromagnetic energy. The scientists experienced neurological effects. The Pentagon and the White House officials reportedly visited Norway, and the U.S. government acquired and tested a separate foreign-made pulsed RF system. A Officials from the U.S. reportedly visited Norway after they learned about the disastrous effects of this experiment on the scientist. The symptoms apparently are not a perfect match for those Havana syndrome sufferers. Later in Russia, China, India, Colombia, the US, the UK, but it all seemed to be close enough to the symptoms that it warranted a lot further investigation by the government. News about this botched experiment came on the heels of the news that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has relocated the cross-function team that researches Havana syndrome from the powerful Undersecretary of War for Policy to the Office of Secretary of War for Research and Engineering. And a lot of people don't like that fact. It is believed that Havana syndrome is a result of a very targeted attack on U.S. officials by a foreign entity using a pulse weapon, like the one they recreated in Norway. The goal was to quietly inflict brain damage on those officials through the use of pulsing electromagnetic energy. Exactly what foreign entities might be responsible for the attacks, we don't know. They haven't said. Although Russia, which has been doing experiments for years researching direct energy weapons, they are a leading suspect. Moscow's denied, of course, having any involvement. But they're on the target. It's scary stuff. Very scary stuff. Are you a fan of IndyCar racing? You are? Well, you're going to be happy to hear this one. Or maybe not. Because, frankly, I cannot imagine this happening. Of all the celebrations going on for our 250th birthday, they are apparently going to bring IndyCar racing to the streets of D.C. for America's birthday bash. You gotta be kidding me. Just when you thought you heard every possible joke about gridlock in Washington, along comes IndyCar to break up the monotony. Friday, President Trump and other officials from IndyCar announced the series would be put out on a Grand Prix on the streets of Washington this August. On Washington streets. It's intended as a one-off event to celebrate our 250th birthday. The race is supposed to be showcasing both the monuments in and around the National Mall and the innovation that powers open-wheel race cars. It would also mark, if not the biggest event for the American semi-quincentennial, probably the fastest, that's for damn sure. And that, of course, depends on whether or not organizers can make a major sporting event in the nation's capital on fewer than 8 months' notice. You haven't got that far to go before it's August, folks, and this takes some major work. They announced the IndyCar schedule last September. Mark Miles, the CEO, said, "I don't think a 2026 race in Washington, D.C. is feasible. Imagine trying to make that work in the nation's capital with less than a year's notice." And now here, 4 months later, even less time to add an 18th race to the series schedule. Freedom 250 schedule for the weekend of August 21st and 23rd will come right in the middle of a 29-day stretch that'll see 5 races in as many weeks, including a trip to Canada, which requires all the team haulers to go through customs. What a nightmare. And in addition to having a race on Washington streets in August, it required the city to basically clear of snow and ice by then. And that may never happen, given the mediocre at best attempts to plow and clear any of the streets in Washington. Have you seen reports about that? It is a nightmare. Seriously, we're just now doing DIY street cleanup? Really? Washington residents might reasonably wonder what the blankety-blank Democrat Mayor Muriel Bowser was doing, promoting an auto race while the streets were still clogged with snow. Of course, Trump critics would say the same thing about his focus on events like the Freedom 250 vis-a-vis affordability. August dates come when Congress will be on its summer recess, so there's that. Less congested streets, maybe more able to bear these traffic-related hassles in the racecourse race. But it also raises the specter of those dual hallmarks of summer in Washington: stifling, unbelievable heat, humidity, interrupted by some massive thunderstorms, which are huge in Washington in August. That would cause problems for not just the cars and the teams, but the spectators too. They're going to keep going. They're going to try it. Based on press reports, it appears Transportation Secretary Duffy, whose Wisconsin home features 2 IndyCar tracks, has been a driving force behind this event. Penske, Trump, also long-standing relationship. Trump awarded the former Medal of Freedom in 2019 on display at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. So they're trying. They're going to do their best to make this happen. Indy race in Washington, D.C. on the streets. Remains to be seen. I will hold judgment on that. I will not, however, hold judgment on the fact that today's show is cooked. We are done. Thank you. Be sure and follow. If you're watching our VOD on our YouTube channel or X, please give us a subscribe or a follow over there. We really appreciate that. Check out our Patreon, our PayPal. You want to make a donation to the show, we really appreciate that as we try to raise money for a new camera around here, as you can see. I just love doing this show, and I love you guys out there. Thanks every moment for that you spend with us. We really do appreciate that. Enjoy it. It's Tuesday. I will see you again tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show.